Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture 2 of week 10 for our course Metrics and Analytics of Marketing. In this week we are discussing the topic Salesforce and channel management, the metrics associated with Salesforce as well as channel management. Today's topic is Salesforce compensation and pipeline analysis. Basically I'll discuss this in two parts. First, we will discuss the various components associated with the compensation, the fixed component as well as the variable component of Salesforce compensation. Then we will also try to understand the pipeline analysis. So, in its nutshell, pipeline analysis is used for short and long term forecasting of sales. Pipeline analysis basically keeps the track of the sales effort to current as well as the potential customers, whether the effort is made in order to retain the current set of customers and the enough effort is made to acquire new customers, and depending on that we will forecast the sales, and based on the forecasting of the sales we will divide the various sales effort, we will divide the workload among the members of the sales team. Okay, so let's dive more into the topic. Let's start our discussions with the Salesforce compensation. As all of you know that Salesforce compensation broadly it can be divided into two categories. One is the fixed part of it, which is called your salary, and another is the variable part of it, which can be reward, which sometimes it is referred to as incentive or bonus. Okay, so when we talk about the incentive plan needs to align the salesperson activities with the firm's objectives. When does a person receive some incentives? A target will be set for the salesperson. If the person exceeds the particular target, then in that case he is incentivized for his work. Again, the incentive is decided at multiple layers, multiple levels. One part of the incentive is linked to the performance of the company as a whole. Another part of the incentive can be linked to performance of the team. Another part of the incentive is performance of the individual. An effective plan may be based on the past, the present or the future of the salespeople effort. So, past means we will look at the historical data, and based on the historical data of the salesperson we will set the target for the subsequent years or subsequent sessions. It can be in comparison with the industry benchmark for similar product. What is the sales achieved by various employees of other companies, or what is an average employee of the organization is achieving. Then it can also be futuristic in nature, percentage of the goal achieved, right. Multiple performance metrics can be employed to evaluate the salespeople, allowing the managerial assessment against the historical performance, then contemporaneous results or the future targets. So, we can, as we have already mentioned, that it can be seen from three perspective, three dimension, and it can also be a mix of these three dimension. When we talk about the past, it measures the salesperson percentage growth in the sales over the prior year results. Let us say in the last year I achieve a sales of 10 lakhs rupees. Now, in this year I will achieve a sales of 12 lakhs rupees. So, in that case my percentage growth is 20%. Now, in the next year what I am expected, if we are just looking at the trend of the past, then in that case 20% of 12 lakhs. So, that is another 24 lakhs. So, in the next year my target will be 14 lakhs and 40,000. It can be in comparison to the present, that is we will rank the salespeople on the basis of the current results, and probably the sales target will be set with the performance of an average person. It can be from the dimension of the future. It measures the percentage of the individual sales goal achieved by each of these salespeople, right. So, I mean we will first look at the what is the target of the organization, then we will look at the what is the target of the team, and how the target of the team can be divided among various salespersons equivalently. Let's look at the purpose of the Salesforce compensation matrix. Primary purpose is to determine the mix of salary, bonus and commission that will maximize the sales generated by the sales force. Basically, sales force compensation, it helps keep motivating the sales people to perform better. When designing a compensation plan for a sales force, manager face 4 key considerations. First consideration is what is the level of pay, right? Second is what is the mix between the salary and incentive. How the entire compensation is divided into 2 categories, into salary and incentive. How to measure the performance of a salesperson. What are the various KPIs? Remember that the KPI is not always the target, because it considers a lot of factors into consideration. For example, one salesperson is allocated into a new area where the awareness level is lesser. So in that case, I mean, he cannot be expected to sell more than a person where the awareness level is already at high level. So in that case, how many new accounts are created? What is the new level of awareness in that particular area? So those things will also be a part of your evaluation system. Then what is the performance payout relationship? So all these 4 factors are looked into. The level of pay or the compensation is the amount that a company plans to pay a salesperson over the course of the year. It can be in terms of fixed salary, it can be in terms of variable pay. This can be viewed as a range because its total will vary with bonuses and commissions, and they are linked to the performance of the salesperson. The second component, that is the mix between the salary and incentive, represents a key allocation within the total compensation. Salary is nothing but a guaranteed sum of money, that is monthly salary that you get as long as you are with the organization, irrespective of your performance level. Right. Incentives can take multiple forms, including the bonuses or commissions. So these are different. I mean, bonus has a different meaning from commission. So what happens in case of bonus? A salesperson will receive a lump sum for reaching the certain sales targets. Let's say my yearly target is 10 lakhs rupees, and if I achieve more than 12 lakhs rupees, then in that case I will be incentivized with 50,000 rupees. So this is something called a bonus, right? But in case of commission, the incentive is incremental and is earned on the basis of each sale. So for every 1 rupee sale made, I will get a commission of, let's say, 5 paisa. In order to generate the incentive, it is important to measure accurately the role of the salesperson plays in each sale. So what is the role played? Is it just follow up of the existing account, or is it just acquiring new customers and trying to sell them, or is it like existing customers but we are upselling, we are upgrading the product of the existing set of customers. So those things will be taken into consideration. The higher the level of causality that can be attributed to the salesperson, the easier it is to use the incentive system. So causality means, I mean, any performance, if it can be directly attributed to the salesperson, then a portion of that performance can be divided between the salesperson and the company. Various metrics can be used to measure the salesperson's performance. Now we are coming to the third component, that is how to measure the performance of the salesperson. So what are the various KPIs employed to measure the performance? With this, managers can evaluate a salesperson's performance in the context of past, present and the future comparators. Past is from the historical data, present is current benchmark, future is what is the organization's target, what is the team's target and what is the individual target. Sales manager can also select the organizational level on which to focus an incentive plan. The disbursement of the incentive rewards can be linked to the results at the company level, at the functional division level or at the product line level, and then it is ultimately translated at the individual level as well. In measuring the performance and designing the compensation plans along all these dimensions, managers seek to align the salespeople incentive with the goals of the firm. So ultimately, how the goal of the individual is decided? I mean, the amalgamated goal of the individual should result in the overall goal of the organization. So individual goal is a part of the organizational goal. It has to be aligned with the organizational goal. They cannot contradict with each other. Lastly, a time period should be defined for measuring the performance of each of the sales people. Normally, in corporate world, it is the financial year. So, from April 1 to March 31st, your appraisal will be evaluated, your performance will be evaluated. So, unless and until this time period is specified, then it will go in an infinite loop and we will not be able to evaluate the performance, and that is why it is most of the time always stick to the financial year. No doubt, sometimes some of the organizations do incentivize the people on a, let us say, quarterly or 6 monthly basis also. Now, let us look at the construction of the Salesforce compensation matrix. The managers enjoy considerable freedom in designing the compensation system. So, designing the compensation system means what should be the fixed salary, what should be the variable salary, and in this variable salary what portion should be bonus, what portion should be commission, or should it be entirely bonus or should it be entirely commission. The key is to start with a forecast for sales and range within which each of the salesperson compensation should reside. After these elements are being determined, there are many ways to motivate a salesperson. So, how can you motivate? That this is your sales target. If you perform better than this, your KPI will, your KPI will increase in this process, and if your KPI increases, then let us say you will get a bonus of 10% of your annual CTC, or if you can get a KPI of, let us say 110, then you will get a bonus of 20% of your total CTC. In case of a multi-bonus system, if you can have a look at this slide, the following formula can represent the compensation structure for a salesperson. What is the formula? Compensation equal to salary in terms of dollar, which is fixed, then bonus 1 and bonus 2. The bonus can be, let us say, bonus 1, let us say, let me take an example. Bonus 1 is for the achieving the sales target in terms of dollar, and bonus 2 is for achieving the target for new account generation. In this system, bonus 1 might be attained at a level approximately halfway to the individual sales goal for the year. The second bonus might be awarded when that goal is met. In a commission system, the following formula would represent the compensation for a salesperson. When it is not bonus, it is not the lump sum amount, rather it is the incremental percentage of the additional sales that is achieved by the salesperson. So, the total compensation in case of commission system can be salary plus sales in terms of dollar multiplied by what is the commission percentage, right. Managers can also combine the bonus and commission structure by awarding the bonuses on the top of commissions at certain sales level, or by increasing the commission rate at the certain sales level, fine. So, it can be a combination of both. Let us say 10 lakhs is your target, up to if you achieve anything beyond 12 lakhs, you will be you will be given a bonus of 50,000 rupees, and let us say above 15 lakhs, whatever you achieve, 20% of the sales will be given you as a bonus, commission, right. So, in this way the compensation system might work. Remember that different organization will have different compensation system based on their own requirement, based on their customized needs. Now, let us dive more into the construction of the metric. After a sales compensation plan has been established, management may want to re-evaluate the size of its sales force. Based on the forecast for the coming year, for the next financial year, a firm may have room to hire more sales people, or it may need to reduce the size of the sales force. So, basically this evaluation will also have direct impact on the HR division of the organization. Based on the assessment, companies might feel like requiring more sales people, they have to hire them, or let us say they might have a feeling of reducing the size of the sales force. On the basis of a given value for projected sales, managers can determine the break-even number of employees for a firm. So, how we can calculate the break-even number of employees? So, basically what we can calculate, sales in dollar multiplied by margin minus commission. So, what is margin basically? Here by margin we are referring to the contribution margin. So, let us say contribution margin is 40% for my product. So, 60% is my cost, 60% is my variable cost, right, and let us say commission of the employees is 10%. So, in a what is the net profit that I am getting from the variable sale? For one incremental sales, I am getting from 100 rupees incremental sales, I am getting the overall value, economic value of the organization is derived at the level of 30 rupees, because 40% is contribution margin, that is 40 rupees if the selling price is 100 rupees, minus 10% is the commission of the salesperson. So, 40 minus 10, that is 30. So, similarly what we can do, sales multiplied by margin minus commission, this will give us the net profit. So, if this is the net profit, then in that case what is the number of employees required? Number of required. So, if this is the profit, in order to break even the number of employees, so that the companies does not need to incur any loss. So, this particular value has to be divided by the salary of the sales people, that is the fixed pay that I am making, plus other administrative expenses and the bonus that is given to the employees, right. So, then it will give us the break even number of the employees. Let us have a quick look at the example. Tina earns a compensation of 2% on sales up to, let us say $1 crore, fine, not 1 crore, 1 million, and a 3% commission on sales beyond that particular point. So, anything up to 1 million, she is earning a commission of 2%. If it is exactly 1 million, then the commission will be 2% of 1 million, that is 20,000. And any amount that is sold beyond 1 million, she will earn a bonus of 3%. Okay. So, her salary is $20,000 per year. If she makes 1.2 million sales, then in that case her compensation can be calculated on the basis of the given protocol. So, what is the salary plus bonus 1 plus bonus 2? So, what is the salary here? $20,000, and what is the bonus 1? Bonus 1 is 0.02 multiplied by 1 million plus bonus 2 is what? Because it is the additional amount beyond 1 million, that is 1.2 million. So, it is 2 million. So, 2 million multiplied by 0.03. So, her overall compensation for the year will be $46,000. Now, let us look into the second component of today's discussion, that is the pipeline analysis. I have already mentioned that pipeline analysis is used to track the progress of sales efforts in relation to all the existing customers and all the potential customers. And what is the purpose of this pipeline analysis? It is to forecast the short term sales and evaluate the sales force workload for a given period of time based on the short term forecasting. Developing a sales pipeline or a sales funnel serve as a useful tool for short term sales forecasting and for assessing the ongoing activities of the sales people, right. So, by funnel, what is this funnel refers to? So, like marketing funnel in sales also, I mean there will be some qualified leads, then some of them will purchase, some of them will not purchase, and it will go through multiple stages, and it's at each of these stages we will lose some of the potential customers. Now, let us look at the purpose of the pipeline analysis matrix. Mainly pipeline analysis metric is used to forecast the upcoming sales and evaluate the workload distribution among the sales employees. A convenient way to forecast sales in the short term and to keep an eye on the sales force activity is to create the sales pipeline or the sales funnel. Although this concept can be represented graphically, the data behind it are stored electronically in the database or in a spreadsheet. The concept of the sales funnel, it originates in a well known dynamic. Let us try to understand what this sales funnel is all about. So it is similar like the marketing funnel concept that we have discussed during the initial phase of this course. If a sales force approaches a large number of potential customers, only a subset of these will actually make the purchases. As the salespeople proceed through the multiple stages of the customer's interactions, a number of prospects are, they get eliminated because of multiple reasons. At the conclusion of each stage, fewer potential customers will remain for further interaction or further activities. So that is why it is called a sales funnel. By keeping the track of the number of potential customers at each stage of the process, a sales force manager can balance the workload within a team and make the accurate forecast of sales for the upcoming session, for the upcoming financial year. So this is the primary purpose of pipeline analysis matrix. Basically, for the purpose of short term sales forecasting and for the purpose of workload distribution. Let's have a look at the construction of the pipeline analysis matrix, as you can see in the diagram. In order to conceptualize a sales funnel or pipeline, it is helpful to draw a diagram showing the stages of the selling processes. So how does the selling process navigate through? So first let's say we will start with the cold leads. Some of the leads, these can be the probable customers, these are the phone numbers of these people. Then there will be some warm leads, means they have done certain activity from which we have derived a situation that these are the customers who are more likely to purchase our product. So rest of the customers we will not follow up. Then there can be prospect. Out of this warm leads, we will actually find out that these are the people who are really interested to purchase our product, or our product has a value for this set of customers. So this stage is still a pre-purchase stage. Then there can be first meeting with the prospect, there can be second meeting, there can be third meeting, and ultimately the prospect will purchase the product. And there will be delivery, and there will be ultimately post purchase services given to the customers, right. At any point of the year, it is likely that all stages of the pipeline will include some of the number of customers. If you can see this particular figure, although there may be a large number of potential customers, those who actually make the purchases represent only a percentage of the original leads. The cold leads may be 1 lakh, but at the end of the day, how many customers are purchasing the product can be below 1000. So that is why it is called a funnel. At each of the stage of interaction, we are losing the numbers. Now let us have a further look at the construction of the pipeline analysis matrix. After the salespeople visualize the different stages represented in a sales funnel, they can track their customers and accounts more accurately. If I understand this process, if I understand the various stages, then in that case, though I find that my number of cold leads are 1 lakh, then I can definitely translate it to what will be the actual number of purchaser from this particular leads. They can do this electronically by using their database or the existing spreadsheet. Let us take an example. A manager can use the information stored in such a funnel to prepare for the sales in the near future. So this is a form of pipeline analysis. When a firm faces inventory issues or when the sales goals are being missed, this represents vital information. So if you can prepare something like this given in this table, it will help you in your inventory management as well as as well as to address the problem of missed out opportunities. So basically you are balancing the stocks. By applying the historical averages, a sales or marketing manager can improve sales forecast by using the data in a sales funnel. So for example, I know if 1 lakh cold sales are there, then warm sales will be only 50% of it. From the historical evidences I find that, right. And out of this 50,000 warm leads, only 10,000 will be my prospects. So, and I have a backing of the historical data to assume this kind of phenomenon. The underlying assumption behind a sales funnel is that failure at any stage eliminate a prospect from the funnel. So, now you can just have a look at this one. So, the different stages of the sales funnel: interest creation, pre-purchase, purchase and post-purchase. So, for one person named Sandy, the cold leads can be 56, then warm leads can be 30, prospect can be 19, after first meeting it can be 5, second meeting it can be 8, and then ultimately delivery is for 7 and support is for 25 people, including the existing set of customers. Then the numbers for Bob may be different, right. So, if we have a data like this in this form, then we can evaluate this data, we can analyze this data in our inventory management, in our manufacturing, in our what should be the order, what should be the production level. So, all these things can be managed with this kind of a data and proper analysis. Let us look at one example. Using the sales funnel from the earlier, Sandy and Bob's manager wants to forecast the number of sales that will require fulfillment in the next 5 months. Towards that end, she applies certain historical averages. So, if you look at this historical averages, 2% of the cold calls are converted to sales within 5 months. So, now what is that value for Sandy and Bob? So, probably it is 56 plus 79, so 79. So, it is somewhere around 140. So, 2% of 140 is within next 6 months, only the 3% from it will purchase the product. 14% of the warm calls are converted to sales within the 4 months, because it goes in a stage, right. Somebody who is a cold lead today can be a warm lead 1 month down the line. So, we can do the analysis, we can do the evaluation at each of these stages with the leftover customers or with the leftover people in the sales funnel. 25% of the prospects are converted to sales within 3 months. Then 36% of the customers who agree to pre-purchase meeting are converted to sales within next 2 months. 53% of the customers who agree to purchase the meeting are converted to sales within 1 month. So, now I can calculate, I can forecast the upcoming sales for the upcoming session. So, I will just put the numbers. So, these numbers as per the first statement is concerned, 2% of the cold calls are converted to sales within the 5 months. So, 56 plus 79 into 2% plus 14% of the warm calls. Warm calls, how many warm calls are there for Bob and Sandy? 30 and 51. So, 30 plus 51 multiplied by 14%. Then prospects, 19 plus 33 multiplied by 25%. Then comes to pre-purchase, 5 plus 16 multiplied by 36%, and ultimately 53% of the customer who agree to purchase the meeting are converted to sales within 1 month. So, basically 8 plus 4 multiplied by 53%. So, overall I can easily compute the forecasting as 41. This example applies to only one product. Often a firm will need multiple sales funnels for different products or product lines, because the customer's behavior for different product lines will be different. Let us say if I am talking about purchasing a pen, then in that case the funnel, the various stages of the funnel can be within, let us say 3 days. But let us say if I am dealing with a product like a car, private vehicle, then in that case the stages of this sales funnel can differ in terms of months, right. So, this is what it is for today. So, we will discuss with a different topic in the subsequent class. Thank you. I will see you in the next class.